It's nice. The sun is out. It's a beautiful day. I can taste. I can smell. My energy is up. Did a workout yesterday. I'm back. Today we're going to be doing something different. I'm going to go over coffee. I'm going to go over coffee on a personal level and more of a broad level of almost educational. And then I'll also do a book review. I'll be reviewing Salem's Lot. So this video is going to be kind of split up into sections. I'll have timestamps and all that so you guys can navigate through the video. Feel free to skip around if you don't care at all for coffee. If you're a tea person and you just want to get to the book review, skip to that. This channel was kind of founded on coffee and books. I like to incorporate coffee into every single video I make. How I like my coffee. I am not a K-cups kind of guy. I used to be a cream and sugar kind of guy, vanilla lattes, and yeah, but now I am just drip coffee, black, nothing else. I like to kind of respect the coffee and just taste it for what it is and really enjoy the depth of flavors. Feel like I'm not tainting it with cream and sugar. Granted, hey, if you like cream and sugar in your coffee, more power to you. Enjoy it how you like it. My wife, she loves cream and sugar in her coffee, and yeah, I just like it plain and black. I used to not really have coffee as a part of my routine. I would get it from Starbucks, or I'd buy those disgusting like 60 grams of sugar Starbucks fraps that you'd buy at stores. Whoa. But then a few years back, my lovely wife got me a French press. This isn't the exact one. This is the one we got from our wedding registry. But yeah, I used to make my coffee with French press. And that is one of the simpler variations to, I guess, brewing coffee. I will be having a demonstration of how I make my coffee through Chemex and French press. And then down the line, my wife got me a Chemex. And this is my absolute favorite way to brew coffee. And I think it's just a wholesome way to make a nice, smooth drip coffee. We don't buy a lot of beans from like chain grocery stores because they're usually pre-ground and they're stale and bland and chalky, and sometimes they're a little too fine. And we primarily get our beans from local coffee shops. And I would highly recommend that's what you do if you partake in coffee. Some of our favorite brands, Morgan Coffee and Stereoscope. I'm more of a medium blend kind of guy. Maybe light here and there, but when it gets too dark, it's just feels like microwaved coffee, and it's just charcoal. I will have links in the description to the equipment we use, to the brands of coffee we like to buy. This is not sponsored by any means. I'm not getting paid. I just want to share my love of coffee with you. It's not just coffee that I love, but the coffee shops that my wife and I go to. It's a place to socialize, meet up with friends, get away, get out of the house and read a book and sip on some nice coffee. I like shops that are either just cozy and small and simple. Shops that don't have a massive menu where they have smoothies and multiple types of drinks like boba and matcha and all sorts of stuff. If it's a coffee shop with a simple menu, you're in a spot that clearly they care about coffee. And I look for that. I like clean places, simple menus, good community, sometimes if it's cozy. And coffee has just played a big role in my relationship with my wife and how we met. We just love coffee, and we love to go to coffee shops together and meet up with friends there and just get out of the house. Coffee is near and dear to me on so many levels. And the crazy thing is I'm not a coffee addict. I have 1 cup, maybe 2 cups a day, and that's it. And I also don't like to have coffee the moment I wake up. I like to allow my body to wake up normally and do its thing. Maybe an hour, 2 hours after, I'll make my cup of coffee. There's so many people out there that are truly addicted and caffeine runs their life. And that's okay. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But for me, I am also a heart patient. I have a pacemaker, and my doctor has allowed me to have 1 cup or 2 cups a day. And now I guess I will have my wife take over the screen, and we will demonstrate how we make our coffee via the Chemex. First, you will need an electric kettle, an electric scale set to grams, a Chemex, and of course you'll need coffee beans of your particular preference, and most importantly, your favorite coffee cup. First, you're going to want to set your water temperature between 200 to 205. If water is too hot, it will make your coffee bitter. Next, place your scale and Chemex. Then you're going to place your filter and rinse that filter so the filter doesn't give the coffee a papery taste. Next, you'll put your ground coffee in the Chemex with the scale. And one of the most important steps here is the bloom process. You want to bloom your coffee for 30 seconds. Saturate all the grounds with water. That way, the water begins to activate the flavor in the coffee grounds. After the 30-second bloom, you'll just start pouring. Probably to 180 to 200 grams. Wait about 30 seconds or so, and you just keep going. And you're going to be pouring your water in a circular motion, and you want to be consistent. That way you are hitting every single bit of coffee. Ideally, you'll want that brewing process to last only 3 minutes. If it goes beyond or below 3 minutes, then that is a good indicator of your grounds, whether they're too fine or too coarse. Now, for me, my recipe, I do about 30 grams of coffee to 500 grams of water. For me and my wife, I think that makes a nice 2 cups of coffee for us very consistently. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm not a professional. I'm just telling you what I'm familiar with and sharing that knowledge with you. I can, of course, link some articles down below with some step-by-step knowledge of how to really dial in your Chemex coffee. Now it's time for the book review. Salem's Lot. I started with Misery, loved it. wasn't as horrifying or scary as I thought it was going to be. It was just very uncomfortable. Pet Sematary, going into that, everyone said, the scariest book he's ever made. No, not as scary for me. I know, everyone's different. Everyone has their own different experiences in life. But for me, Pet Sematary was just a really well done story. So then, going into Salem's Lot, I was so excited because all I heard, primarily from Mike's book reviews, just a scary town, a haunted house, and vampires done right. This was Stephen King's second book. I'm blown away, amazed. The way he writes characters, the way he filled this town with these characters, the town itself was a character. The house, the Marston house overlooking the town, was its own character. It felt so real. It felt so alive. You got glimpses of little townsfolk here and there and their perspectives and their own personal lives in the midst of this underlying mystery of vampires. You got to sit for chapter after chapter with just, okay, 4 a.m., this happens. 5 a.m., these people wake up and do this routine. 6 a.m., and so on and so on. And that alone just added to the suspense of the book, because the whole book is a slow burn, and I appreciate slow burns. The characters are written just so real. They feel like people you would know in real life. Multidimensional. And you couldn't help but root for them and want to see things through with them and uncover the mystery with them. The way the history of the town was unfolded and how these characters had ties to that history, and the Marston house that looms over the town, that history, and the rumors about, all of these things just made this book feel almost historic and like a glimpse of actual history within a small town. And what I loved about this mystery is things were spoon-fed and things didn't have answers. You were with the characters and uncovering the mystery with them. I loved how the dark presence really just slowly, bit by bit, affected each townfolk. You know, people would go missing, and other people would be like, I haven't seen this person in a while. What happened? You've also got the cliches of vampires in this, but it wasn't executed in a cliche way. You know, the cliches of the folklore of vampires and vampirism, very familiar to us, you know, in fantasy novels, but the way King delivered that information was so subtle and so natural that it didn't feel jarring and otherworldly. It truly felt believable that vampires had infected this town. This is a 650-page book. You know, it's not short by any means. It's a very easy read, but the book is a slow burn. And I tend to say this, you know, an onion. Bit by bit, a layer is peeled, and that's kind of how the story was executed, was just one layer at a time. And that added to the horror and what makes this book scary. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. And now let's actually talk about that. King did such a good job with playing with that familiar fear that we all have with darkness. You know, I read this book at night. My wife was asleep next to me. I was in a dark room and I had my little, you know, reading lamp. I would see the dark window in front of me, you know, with the moonlight shining through, and I'd see the darkened abyss of our bedroom door open while reading this. And reading those scenes, those specific scenes, that was scary, okay? Very scary. And I just wanted more of that. And I didn't get that. I wanted to be scared more. I wanted him to just keep ramping it up. The historical Marston house that the main character Ben has a connection with. I wanted that to have more of a presence. The house was built up to be this, this scary, mysterious, dark presence that just overlooks the entire town. And, from every vantage point, and other perspectives of town folks, they would see that house and they'd have a rumor about it or a line to say about that house. And I just wanted that house to play a bigger part. I was kind of sad with how the house was used toward the end and how it was kind of pushed to the side. I guess I wanted it to be a little more tropey and a little more cliche in that regard, with this ragtag of friends that come together and they approach the haunted house. And I wanted the rest of the book to be that haunted house. But instead, it's more about the town and the slow descension into darkness. What was scary was perfect. I just wanted more of it. There's a few characters in this book that I wanted a little more of. If King maybe made this book 50 more pages longer, I'd care that much more for the characters. And I also felt like some things overstayed its welcome. Some perspectives of townsfolk, I felt like maybe those could have been drawn back a little bit and given more to the darkness and to the house and to a couple other characters. But one thing this book delivers on is the desolation, the emptiness, the loneliness. I felt that. And this being a slow burn, you just feel that. And you feel that in your gut. Very much how I felt in Misery. Misery, I just felt this weight and this churning cringe in my stomach of this character just being miserable. And with this book, I just felt this town. Bit by bit, you would see the life just wash away. This book gets me excited for it. I'm excited because I want to be scared, and I hope it is that for me. But I'm also excited for that long, 1,000-page book of seeing these kids, as friends, tackle this darkness, this evil, and growing up, seeing that story unfold. And I'm genuinely excited for that, because this book was a step in that direction. It's what I was looking for in a Stephen King book, a group of people coming together to fight evil. And I like that. It's cliche, it's fun, but again, I just wanted more of it, and I think it will do that for me. Whenever I get to that, maybe next summer, because it is a summer-fall read, I'll give this book 3 open windows and 1 Citroen, however you say the car that the main character Ben drives. A 1970 version of that sedan. I will give it 1 of those and 3 open windows. I think I'm done with Stephen King for now. Maybe I'll dive into The Shining if I'm feeling up to it. But The Shining and It will most likely be the next ones I do read of his. But for now, I'm pushing them to the side, and I am going through book 12 of Wheel of Time, finishing this bad boy up and seeing how this story ends. This was a long one. I appreciate you sitting through this, hanging out, hearing me talk about coffee and talk about books. So tell me, How do you like your coffee? What do you prefer? Do you like it with cream and sugar? Do you like lattes? Do you like Americanos? Cappuccinos? What do you like? And what are we all reading? Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And yeah, until next time.